Hello everyone. We have started with gravitation. So yesterday we discussed few things about the gravitational constant, which is called as G, which is the constant of proportionality. We discussed that every particle attracts each other with a force of attraction, right? And then we clarified that if we consider two bodies which are there, which is m1 and m2. Okay, these two bodies m1 and m2, they attract each other with the force of attraction, right? And between these two bodies there is a separation, there is a distance which is called as small r. So r is the separation between the two bodies m1 and m2, and both the bodies are attracting each other with a force. Then r is a separation between these two bodies. So we from this we got that the force of attraction which is there, it is proportional to the product of the masses, which is m1 m2, and the force of attraction is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, as well as F equals to g m1 m2 upon r square, where g is nothing but the constant of proportionality. And then we also discussed that how the two bodies are acted upon equal and opposite forces. These two forces are equal and they are in opposite directions. This force, you can see, it's in this direction and this is in this direction, yet they are both the forces which are equal, but they are opposite in direction. So thus we can say that there is an action and reaction force, that's the particle is exerting a force on the other which is in equal and opposite to the force that the second particle exerts on the first. Then we saw the value of G, which is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square kilogram raised to minus 2. Then we saw the gravitational constant, which is numerically equal to the magnitude of the force of attraction. That means both the masses, if they are 1 kg and they are placed with a distance of 1 meter, we get the value of the gravitational force of constant, that is we get it as 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton, which is the force, and the gravitational constant which is there, it's 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square kg raised to minus 2. Then second problem, yesterday we saw this first one, the force is 6.67 and the gravitational constant is this. Then here we maybe yesterday I had told you that G is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton. Ignore it, it's the force, it's not the gravitational constant here. Why it is 6.67? Because the value of two masses is 1 and the distance is also 1. If the gravitational force of attraction between the moon of mass is 7.36 and earth is this much, you have to take the distance between both as 3.80 into 10 raised to 8 meters. So finally when you solve this whole thing, that is F equals to m1 into m2 into G upon r square, you get it as 2 into 10 raised to 20 Newton. So from these two examples, it is very clear that gravitational force of attraction is highly significant between heavenly bodies. So when we are talking about the heavenly bodies like the moon, like the sun or the earth or the planets, then that time gravitational constant is very significant, but it is insignificant between the two ordinary bodies. Between two ordinary bodies it is very insignificant, but between two heavenly planets or heavenly bodies it is significant. So from all these above examples we can say that gravitational force of attraction is significant between heavenly bodies and insignificant between ordinary bodies. So we can consider gravitational force of attraction as it's always attractive, it will always be attractive, the force of gravitation. Then it is directly proportional to the product of the two masses, it's inversely proportional to the square of distance. Therefore we can say it obeys the inverse square law. Inverse square law means if you double the distances, if you double these distances, okay, if you double the distances, then the gravitation constant, okay, then the force of attraction which is there, it is reduced to 1/4, it becomes reduced to 1/4. Okay, and then the last point is it is significant for heavenly bodies and insignificant for the ordinary bodies. So this is all about the gravitational constant. Gravitation force of, that is the gravitational force, is important to note that the gravitational force between the two masses is always attractive, proportional, directly proportional to the product of the masses, inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, and it is significant for heavenly bodies and insignificant for the ordinary bodies. So finally we say that F equals to gmm upon r square. Now what is the importance of the law of gravitation? The importance of this law of gravitation is that it explains us the motion of the planets around the sun, and the motion of the moon or the satellite around the earth, and the motion of a freely falling body. So it helps, the gravitation constant or the importance of gravitation helps us to understand the motion of the planets, the motion of the freely falling body. That's the reason it's important to understand this. So I hope this concept is very clear with you, that what is actually gravitation constant. Okay, now we are going to go to the next term, which is called as the force due to gravity. Now you have been learning from your fourth or your from fifth standard or from your earlier classes that we are always attracted towards the earth, and why are we attracted towards the earth? It's because of the gravitational pull, right? So according to the law of gravitation, we say that the earth is attracting every object towards it, right? That's the reason we are sitting now and listen, you are sitting down and listening to the video. Why? Because you are attracted towards the earth. So the force by which the earth is attracting a body is called as force due to gravity on the body, right? Which is taken to act vertically downwards at the center of the gravity of the body. So for example, now if you say that this is a particular object, this object is attracted towards the table, right? So why is it attracted? Because there is a force of gravity which is acting on it vertically downwards, okay, from the center of the body, center of gravity of the body. Later you will be understanding what is CG or center of gravity. Later you will be understanding it in more details, but right now you understand that when the ball is on the table, it is attracted towards the vertically downwards towards the gravity, okay, towards the earth's gravity. So here we can say, in vertical motion near the earth's surface for a height much smaller than the radius of earth, the force of the gravity on the body is assumed to be same throughout. So in vertical motion near the earth's surface, if any body is going vertically, okay, vertically near the earth's surface, so when we are talking about vertical motion, so this will be the vertical motion to it, and it is going near the earth's surface, it will be much smaller than the radius of earth. The radius of earth is very huge, okay, it's a very huge, and the height, when we are counting the height, when the body is coming towards the surface of the earth, it's very small. So therefore we consider the force of gravity on the body is assumed to be same throughout. Once again I will tell, radius of the earth is very huge, and the vertical motion of the body towards the earth surfaces of the earth surface is taken very small. That's the reason we say force of gravity is same throughout the body. Okay, then the force due to the gravity of the body of mass m kept on the surface of earth of mass capital M and radius r is equal to the force of attraction between the earth and body, and given by F equals to g m upon r square. Now how is this possible? Let us see. Now here, when I am talking about F equals to G capital M small m upon r square, this capital M is the mass of the earth, right? Mass is one body and small m is another body. We had discussed that F equals to G m G m1 m2. So from that, m1 is nothing but the capital M, m2 is nothing but the small m. So capital M mass of the earth, small m mass of the body, r square is the distance between the earth and the body. Okay, so that is given by this formula, F equals to G m upon r square. So if we take the mass of the earth as 5.96, radius of the earth as 6.37 into 10 raised to 6 meter, 5.96 into 10 raised to 24, okay, and the particle, the gravity on the body of mass small m as 1 kg will be given as F equals to 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11, which is the gravitational constant. Capital N, which is given as 5.96 into 10 raised to 24. Small n is given as 1 divided with 6.37 into 10 raised to 6 the whole square, which gives me 9.8 Newton. So earth attracts a body of mass 1 kg by a force of 9.8 Newton towards its center. Once again I will explain you. Here I have taken the formula F equal to G capital M small m upon r square. 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 is the gravitational constant, 5.96 into 10 raised to 24 is the mass of the earth, and 1 is the mass of the body, upon 6.37 into 10 raised to 6 the whole square is the radius, which gives me 9.8. So earth is attracting the body towards itself of a mass of 1 kg, which is 9.8 Newton towards its center. Now, as the earth attracts an object towards it, the object is also attracting the earth. Now, this pen is I have kept over here. This pen is being attracted by the earth. In the same way, the earth is also attracting the pen. But we cannot experience that, or we can say that it is we cannot see that the object is free to move when it starts moving towards the earth, because the earth's inertia, the earth's inertia is so much large that it does not move the object at all. The earth has an inertia, maybe it can be an inertia of motion or the rest, but it has such a high inertia. That's the reason this particular pen, you can't see that it is going towards the earth. Okay, it can't go, we can see now it is at rest, but there is a force of attraction, right? Since the object is free to move, it starts moving towards the earth, but the earth, because of its large inertia, does not move towards the object. Sorry, this particular pen will be moving towards the earth, but we cannot see earth coming towards the object because of its very large inertia. Are you clear with this? This pen is being attracted towards the earth, but earth, we cannot see it coming towards the object because of the large inertia of earth. Now, acceleration due to gravity. Now, Galileo was the first scientist to study the motion of different bodies under the force of attraction of earth. So first experiment was done by Galileo. So from his experiments, Galileo found that bodies of different masses and different sizes are there, and they are simultaneously made to fall in vacuum. In vacuum means absence of air. Okay, so here absence of air, that is, in presence of air, viscous force and force due to buoyancy act on the body. So the force depends on the size and the shape, which is different. So when there is buoyancy, buoyant force, you know what is a buoyant force, right? When you put a ball into the water, the ball starts bouncing, that's the buoyant force. So he ignored all these forces. Only he said that when the body is made to fall freely in vacuum, that is in absence of air, from the same height, they all reach the earth's surface simultaneously with the same velocities. Thus, all the bodies are traveling with the same distances in same interval of time. So here, what have I done? Say, let us imagine that these all are different bodies which are moving towards the earth. Now, these different bodies are basically, let us take that this one is little bigger. So all are of different shapes and sizes. Let us take like that. Just let us take this like as a comet or something. So all these are of different shapes and sizes, and when these different bodies or these heavenly bodies are made to fall on the earth, now let us consider that these are normal bodies. Okay, so when they are made to fall on the earth, all of these will be reaching with the same velocity towards the earth. Okay, all these bodies are reaching with same velocity, irrespective whether one is bigger, smaller, one is of different size, nothing like that. All will be reaching the earth at the same distance and at the same interval of time. So we can say all the bodies travel with the same distance in same interval of time. Moreover, what did he find? That as the bodies are traveling towards the earth, their velocities, okay, their velocities keep on increasing at a constant rate. Their velocities are increasing. So we can say that if the velocity is increasing, there is a change in velocity per unit time. Then what is it? Change in velocity per unit time means what? It's the acceleration, right? The freely falling body is uniformly accelerated motion, and this acceleration is nothing but, we can say that it is same for the bodies and also considered as acceleration due to gravity. So we can say that in other words, we say that the acceleration of the freely falling body, so here freely falling body, it does not depend on its body size or its shape. It is same, this acceleration is same for any different body, any kind of body, the acceleration remains same. So we can say that acceleration due to gravity is same for all the type of body. Once again, I will tell you that if Galileo said that if different types of bodies, okay, if the bodies of different masses or sizes were simultaneously to fall in vacuum, okay, so what happened, irrespective of their size, shape, they all will be reaching at the same distance and at the same interval of time. Okay, moreover, he found that their velocity keeps on increasing at a constant rate. Velocity keeps on increasing means what? Their motion is accelerated. And finally, we can say acceleration of freely falling body will not be dependent on the mass of the body, size and the shape, which is called as acceleration due to gravity. We can say that the rate at which the velocity of the freely falling body is increasing is nothing but the acceleration due to gravity. So in other words, it's because of the acceleration produced in the freely falling body due to the gravitational force of attraction of the earth. So why is this acceleration produced? This acceleration is nothing but acceleration due to gravity, and this acceleration is produced because of the produced in a freely falling body because of the gravitational force. So are you clear? Because of the gravitational force, the body is accelerated, and that acceleration is the acceleration due to gravity. Therefore we can say acceleration due to gravity is given by the letter small g. Its SI unit is meter per second square, and it's a vector quantity because it's the quantity directed vertically downwards. Now, experimentally, it is found that the value of G keeps on changing every time. Why? It's because of the pull of the earth. Now, when we will be studying about magnetism, that time you will be more clear that why the gravitation is more at the, it's less at the poles, and at the equator it becomes zero, and all these things you will be more clear with it. Okay, so here we can say that the value of G on the equator is less than the poles. Okay, and at the altitudes or the depth below the earth's surface, the gravitational force is more. That means near the altitudes, okay, near the mountains, or we can say near the earth's surface, it is zero. Value of G will be decreasing, and the value of G becomes zero at the center of the earth. So here they have explained us that experimentally it is found that value acceleration due to gravity does not remain constant. So on earth's surface it varies from place to place. On equator it is slightly less compared to the poles. Mean value of G is 9.8. At altitudes or above the earth's surface or at the depth, value of G decreases. It decreases, not more. I'm sorry. At altitudes or at the earth's surface, the depth below, the value of G decreases, and the value of G is 0 near the center of the earth. Okay, near the center of the earth, the value of the G is 0. Okay, then note that the value of G is different for planets and satellites also, and the value of G on the moon's surface is 1/6 the value of G. Now, there might be a question arising that what is the relationship between small g and G? G, capital G, it's the gravitational constant. Small g is acceleration due to gravity. So let us consider that uh, G will be the acceleration due to gravity on a planet, capital M is the mass, and capital R is the radius. So Newton's law of motion, the force due to gravity is given as F equals to mg. So F is mg means what? M into A. Ma is what? Acceleration due to gravity. F equals to mg. Then by the Newton's law of gravitation, F equals to g m upon r square, right? Now from equations 1 and 2 you take as small mg equals to m upon r square. Cancel the small m. So what is the value of G now? Value of G is gm upon r square. So this is the value of G, which is acceleration due to gravity. Okay, and obviously the value of G on a planet depends on the mass and the radius of the planet. So just take mass of the earth, we already know it's 5.96 into 10 to the power 24. Radius we know 6.37 into 10 to the power 6. Finally you substitute the value, that is g into m upon r square, which is 9.8 meter per second square. Similarly here on the surface of the moon, 7.36, radius 1.75 of the moon, you get the value as 1.6, which is nothing but the gravitational acceleration due to gravity on moon is 1/6 of acceleration due to gravity on earth. So this is how you can find out the value of small g. I hope the things are clear with you, that what we are doing, how is acceleration due to gravity, why do we get acceleration due to gravity? We get acceleration due to gravity because of the gravitational pull of the earth. Then we have something called as the free fall of the body. Now in lesson number 2 we studied the dimensional motion, one dimensional motion. So we studied that the motion of the freely falling body from a height, or the motion of the body thrown vertically upwards, is one dimensional motion under gravity, right? Even if you keep the body up or down, this is just one dimensional motion. So acceleration due to gravity for a vertically falling body, if the body is falling downwards, it's plus g. If the body is going upwards, it's minus g. I hope this is clear with you, what is plus g and minus g. Then if a body is falling from rest from a height, so let us say that if a body is at rest over here, and if it is falling towards the gravity. Okay, when it is falling towards the gravity, so we can say that the acceleration is replaced by g. So uh, then the equations will be like this. You have to take u as 0, a as g. So v equal to u plus at, first equation. So v equal to 0 plus gt by 0 because u is 0. So v equals to gt. Then s we take it as h equal to ut plus half at square, second kinematic equation. So 0 into t plus half into g into t square, which is h equal to half gt square. V square plus u square equal to 2s, or we can take it as v square equal to u square plus 2s. So v square equals to 2gh. Okay, then but if the initial velocity, let us say that the body is having an initial velocity, say it has an initial velocity u, then it becomes as v equal to u plus 8 gt, h equal to ut plus half gt square, and v square equal to u square plus 2gh. Then if the body is thrown vertically upwards, so let us say body is thrown vertically upwards, then what will happen to the acceleration due to gravity? It will become minus. So v, instead of v equal to u plus at, body thrown vertically upward, instead of v equal to u plus at, v equal to u minus gt, h equal to ut minus half gt square. When the body is thrown vertically upwards with the initial velocity u to a height h, v square equal to u square minus 2gh, and h equal to ut minus half gt square. So this can be the three equations. Now at the highest point of reach, okay, when at the highest point of the reach means when the body reaches to the highest point. So here the final velocity is v equal to 0. So from the equation v square equal to u square minus 2gh, the h max will be, here I'll just write it over here. So we can say that when it reaches the final velocity v equals to 0, okay, then we can say that height is nothing but u square upon 2g. How did we get this? From the equation v square minus u square equal to v square equal to u square minus 2gh. So here v is 0, u is u square minus 2gh, therefore h is nothing but u square upon 2g. So at the final point, this is the final point. Then so this is the maximum height which it can reach, u square upon 2g. At that, and the time taken will be nothing but t equal to u upon g, which is taken from the formula v equal to u minus gt. So we take it as t, this becomes 0. So t equals to u by g. This is the time, this is the height. Okay, then the same time will be taken to come back to the initial point after reaching the highest point. Reached highest point, now it has to come down. So the same time will be taken, right? So we can say that t dash will be nothing but 2t, which is nothing but twice u of g. So the total distance travelled by the body is nothing but h dash equals to 2h max, which is nothing but u square upon g. So once again I will tell you what are we doing. When the body is reaching to the final point, okay, when the body is thrown upwards, it has reached to the final point, v becomes 0. So here height will be taken as u square upon 2g. How? By using the kinematic equation v square equal to u square minus 2gh. You just solve it, put v as 0 and just solve it. And time will be what? Time will be taken as v equal to u minus gt, which is t is nothing but u by g. Now when it is going up and coming down, so twice of u by g. Twice of u by g is nothing but 2u by g. Then same way the height maximum, twice of u square upon 2g. So u square, 2 gets twice of this, which will be nothing but, let me just write it, twice of u square upon 2g. So 2 cancel, so answer comes as u square by g. So this is called the free fall of the body, how we can calculate. Okay, so with this I'll end the session. We have done many things today. We have seen what is actually acceleration due to gravity, then what is how is this law of force of attraction between two masses of the body, relationship between small g and capital G, and also the free fall. I hope you all are understanding this clearly. Please go through it properly, and if you have any queries, you can just message me or ask me. Thank you children, and stay safe and take care.